So we're going to start here. I know that looks elementary, but as I said before, I am not good at drawing on a dry erase board. And we're going to start here. If you did print out the class materials, I forgot to print out the class materials so you could see what I'm talking about. We are on, I believe it's the second chart. Well, we're going to start with what is spiritual hygiene. I'm going to give you the definition first. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mirror the screen. Thank you, Ermi. I just realized it, too. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with the definition of spiritual hygiene. And then we're going to move to the chart. So the very first thing you should, and then I put this, the class materials in order, so you can follow along. And I just draw the board for people who did not have time or did not come across my class materials in order to download them. But they are on my page. It's the very last post I posted, if you want to go download them real quick and come back. So we're going to start by breaking down the term of spiritual hygiene. What did I do with my pointer? Right here. So you know how we take showers to cleanse our bodies. We brush our teeth to remove buildup, and we wash our hands to protect against bacteria, etc., etc. That's physical hygiene, just in case you didn't know. Now, ask yourself, what's cleansing your spirit like? How do you cleanse your spirit after you've been touched by grief, maybe gossip, anger, jealousy, sexual energy, trauma, social media, or any other people problems? Spiritual hygiene is the intentional practice of cleansing and maintaining your energetic, emotional, and spiritual body. It's just like when you care for your physical one. It's the same thing. Without it, you carry around energetic filth, is what I call it. Clutter. Your aura gets clogged up. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. When you don't practice spiritual hygiene, your field becomes cluttered, hard to breathe in, hard to focus, easy to trip in. The clutter weighs you down. It messes with your clarity. That's the first thing that usually goes. It clouds your Ashe, which is your spirit, your soul, your energy. And your Ashe is like your energetic footprint or fingerprint. When it's clouded by spiritual dirt, your intuition becomes fuzzy, your manifestations get weaker, your spiritual gifts get muffled, you feel off, and you can't explain why you feel off. So, I am going to talk about my formula, because as always, I try to show y'all that my formula actually can be translated into any spiritual practice, any spiritual belief system, or religion. That flower is covering it up, but work equals intention plus Ashe plus activation. In this case, the work would be the actual spiritual hygiene, which we're talking about now. So, the intention is being aware of what's in your energy field. The Ashe is bringing in your divine power, your herbs, your tools, your spirit team. It depends on what your belief system is, what your Ashe is. And the activation is actually doing the work, the prayers, and the cleansing, the reset. And it's not just about rituals. I do want to say that. And it's not just about routines. It's actually a mindset. Spiritual hygiene is a mindset. It's a choice to value your own energy enough to protect it, to purify it, and to give it space to actually breathe. Is kind of like feeling drained. Yes. And we're going to go over all of the different ways you can actually, know why if your spiritual hygiene is off. I keep tripping over stuff. So, now we're going to move to this makeshift chart that I tried to make. I'm going to explain what everything is real quick. So this is a brain, heart, you. This is supposed to be 60% water, but I couldn't make the body 60% water, or I would cover up the rest of the diagram. If you can see this, this is your EM field or your bio field. That's what they call it in science, but we call it in spirituality your aura. And this is just showing that the blue is everything put together, but this is your heart EM field. The orange is your brain waves. And I think that's it. Oh, and then I'm going to go over this part right here. But just in case you can't tell, and if you can't tell, there's a bunch of arrows in here showing. I went ahead and knocked my crystal off the desk that I was trying not to knock off. Showing how energy is exchanged. If you are within 6 feet of someone, you are actually exchanging energy with them and you don't even know it. Welcome everybody who's just got in. Okay. So we're going to talk about energy hygiene, which is the same thing as spiritual hygiene. And not the trending version, not just cleansing your space or smudging and going. I mean like the real science behind and spirit behind how energy moves throughout your body. That's what we're going to go over now. Because it's actually deeper than what sometimes you listen to a spiritualist talk, but you have that question of, yes, I believe what you're saying, but can you show me how that translates into the physical world? And not everything can be seen. I do want to say that, but sometimes science actually explains what we believe spiritually. And so that's why I always try to teach the science behind everything that I am teaching you. So basically, this is showing that your body is electric. And that's not a metaphor. That's actual biology. Your brain communicates with tiny sparks. Your heart beats from electrical rhythms. Your nervous system sends messages like lightning through your spine. You are literally charged energy. And all that electrical activity actually creates something that both science and spiritualists recognize, which is your EM field, which is your energy field, your electromagnetic field. That's what EM stands for. I don't think I said that. In science, we call it a biofield. In spirituality, we would call it an aura. This is your aura. So your aura is a living reflection of your thoughts, your trauma, your joy, your stress, your memories. It holds the residue of every room you ever walked into, every person who's ever hugged you, every heart break you haven't spoken about. And your field actually remembers that stuff. All of that stuff stays in your auric field. And when you don't cleanse it regularly, your aura starts to carry emotional trash. Not just yours, but everybody else's. So we're going to start with the science about you being an electric being. And we're going to talk about bioelectricity first. And that's your body's built-in circuit, basically. So your cells behave like tiny batteries. And if you've been in biology, especially if you went to college, you already know this, but I'm going to go over it. So moving ions like sodium, potassium, and calcium are what charge it across the membranes. This movement creates a bioelectricity when they're moving over the cells. That's the literal current that powers your body. And what does that, people want to know, like, how does that matter spiritually? When you're dehydrated, nutrient deficient, or overwhelmed, your field actually destabilizes. Your Ashe feels shaky. You might feel mentally foggy, emotional chaos, just spiritually cut off, really. That's not just stress. That is actually an electrical imbalance. Rituals that use salt, minerals, herbs, or grounding, that's not just symbolic, that's actually an energetic recalibration. Um, a lot of people use salt to cleanse. Then, when we get to heart, your heart's EM field, this is your actual emotional frequency. Your heart actually has its own brain, and it's called the cardiac nervous system. And it emits the strongest electromagnetic signal in your entire body, more than the brain. The Heart Math Institute discovered that fields extend up to 6 feet outside of your body. That means when you sit beside someone, your fields are actually blending together. And that's what I was trying to show right here. You're actually blending with each other's frequencies, whether you know it or not. Why does this matter spiritually? So emotions like grief, and this is where empaths come in. You have a heightened awareness of this. So emotions like grief, love, anger, joy, they radiate. They actually move because they're electric. That's why you can walk into a room and feel the tension before a word is said. I've actually said that in another live. That's why you can feel spiritually drained from someone standing right next to you if they are chaotic. Heart work like gratitude rituals, breath work, and forgiveness rituals are not just emotional, they're actually an electrical cleansing of the heart. And then when we move to the brain, and let me know if y'all have questions, because I made this class really, really short, so I won't have y'all up all night. So I'm going through this pretty fast. Your brain waves, this is your thought frequencies in motion. I tried to put little things right here to show the brain waves moving. So your thoughts are not actually invisible. Your brain creates waves of electricity that shift based on your mood and your consciousness. Your beta waves, that's when you're alert and logical. Alpha, calm and meditative. Theta waves are your intuition and your dreams. Delta is when you're in a deep sleep, and gamma is when you're in a deep focus and you're in a heightened awareness state. So why does this matter spiritually? When your thoughts are chaotic and racing, you're literally running high frequency charge through your brain. Meditation isn't just a chill time. It actually shifts you from high beta into theta, from stress into peace, if you don't know what high beta and into theta means. Prayer regulates your change. Sound bowls actually retune your brain waves. Chanting aligns your frequency. So then that's when we get to the nerve impulses, which I did not have time to draw. So I'm going to do it now. This is when your nerve impulses are going into your spine, into your legs and things like that to tell your body what to do. Even me just drawing on that board just now is sending electrical signals to my limbs to let me know that I'm doing this. So every single motion, and I'm talking about every single one, blinking, writing, lighting a candle, comes from nerve impulses, which are mini lightning bolts sent from your brain into your body. So make sure. Hello, Nietzsche. So let me see. Why does that matter spiritually? That's where I was. So ritual is electricity in motion. Literally, when you are performing rituals like me lighting those 3 candles, well, 4 if you include the rue candle, that is literally electricity in motion. Every time you dress a candle, whisper a prayer, or lay a crystal on your altar, you are literally charging that moment with energy. And I believe it was in the ancestral magic class I was telling you guys about. People always ask, why are you feeding your ancestors? They can't eat it. It's not the food that they're eating. It's the energy that you create while you prepare the food. That is what is fueling your ancestors, not the actual tangible food in the physical world. You preparing it, you taking it to the altar, you setting it down, and you praying, that creates energy. Um, when your nervous system is regulated, your spiritual work actually becomes supercharged. When it's fried, your rituals feel hollow. And this is when you notice that your altar is dead, like the waters have no bubbles, your candles won't stay lit, things like that. So now we're going to get into the blue, which is the biofield, or what we call the aura. This is your energetic cloud. All of this energy, your electrical thoughts, emotional frequencies, your nerve currents, they all create what we call a biofield. That's what you call it in science. Um, and aura. So this field can be measured with devices, um, magnetometers. I struggle with that word. Are used to actually measure someone's biofield. And if you ever had an aura picture done, it's actually taking a picture of your biofield. I've had one done before. See if it's, here it is. I actually left it out just in case I wanted to show you. So this is what my biofield looks like. If you ever had somebody do an aura picture for you. And those colors actually mean something. So whoever usually takes your picture, they usually give you a reading to let you know what that means. And mine was 100% right. What they read, like everything that they told me was actually me, for real, for real. So, and I tried to trick the system, and I got my picture taken by the same people twice, and my aura looks exactly the same. Both times I went. The last time I went, I was actually receiving downloads while I was taking the picture, so there were spaces in between, and then there was 3 orbs, which they told me were my spiritual guides that were actually with me in the moment I took my first picture. That was the only difference. The colors, the order the colors were in, all of that was still the same when I went the second time. So if you are in Little Rock, look up Happy Aura Company and get your picture taken. So, why does your aura matter spiritually, or your biofield? Why does it matter spiritually? Your aura is like a spiritual Wi-Fi signal. If it's too open, people, spirits, even locations can affect you. If it's foggy, you can't hear your intuition. If it's cracked, energy leaks out and attachments start to creep in. So spiritual hygiene, like smoke cleansing, water rituals, prayer, sound is very, very good for aura cleansing. Or intention clears and strengthens that field. So now I want to talk about water. If you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. That says 60% of your body is water. Oh, wow. 11K likes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, let's bring something you've probably overlooked, which is water. Your body is made up of 60% water, and water is a powerful conductor. That means that your emotions, your thoughts, and words are literally moving through a liquid that amplifies and records them. And that's what I believe it was the elemental magic class that I taught on here, where I was telling you guys that the moon actually does affect our emotions. It can pull the tides of an ocean, and the ocean is water. So imagine what it does to us if we are 60% water. The moon can literally, that's why people say people be acting crazy on the full moon. We are 60% water. The moon can literally, that's why people say people be acting crazy on the full moon. It's because the gravitational pull of the moon is actually making some people emotionally unstable. Dr. I always butcher his name, but it's okay. Masaru Emoto, I'm pretty sure y'all probably heard of him. He's very famous. Studies show that when water is exposed to love, it forms symmetrical, beautiful crystals. When exposed to hate, the structure actually distorts into fragments. And if y'all want to, y'all can actually look up that study on YouTube and watch the difference that the water has. Like, he was cussing the water out and it changed the way it looked. And then when he spoke words of love, it turned into something beautiful. Now, think about the water inside of you. What do you speak over yourself? What emotions are swirling in your bloodstream? What memories are living in your tears? You have to be very, very careful about how you speak to yourself, because that 60% is actually holding what you're saying about yourself inside of your body. Yes, it also changed with neglect. Yes, good book. Oh, you already on it. If you can put the title of the book in the comments for me, sweet Mama B, so other people can read it. It's very, very interesting how smart water actually is. This is why we use spiritual baths. This is why they do ocean rituals. This is why they do hydration rituals, and that's why they're so sacred. You're not just cleansing your skin, you're actually shifting the frequency of your internal ocean. Yes, water actually holds memory. Speak into your water positive things before you drink it. It is alive. Yes. So that is basically the science behind. I went over it quick. I told y'all I was going to make this class quick for y'all, so we won't be on here for 3 or 4 hours. So next we're going to go over what causes the leakages and how they affect you. Did anybody have any questions before I moved on to the next section? Yes, the hidden messages in the water. Go get that book. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for pinning that, Pookie. Okay, no questions. So, what causes energetic leaks? That's what we're about to talk about. And we're going to talk about what's really happening when your spirit feels tired, when your candles won't stay lit, when your dreams get heavy. And when I say heavy dreams, if you are a dream diviner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you have premonition type dreams, you wake up and you feel like you haven't eaten in weeks. You feel starved, dehydrated, extremely thirsty. That's when you have leaked so much energy that your body cannot even, it's basically sucking up its own energy just so you can have that premonition. So that's what I mean when I say when your dreams get heavy. When you're praying but it's not landing. When your rituals feel flat even though your intentions were pure. What's the purpose of the glass of water along with the candles? Glasses of water are used for communication. Also, the water element, candles, the fire element, and people also believe that candles basically light the way for whatever spirit you're calling to come to the correct place. It's a bunch of different things. It really depends on your belief system. But I use it for communication purposes. I have water everywhere. All over my office, there's glasses of water. And it's because of what I do for a living. I'm literally reading people and giving consultations all day from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. if you schedule with me online. So, let's see. When your rituals fall flat, when your intentions were pure, that's not always just a bad day. That can actually be an energetic leak. Water is a conduit. Yes, it is. An energy leak is when your life force or your Ashe starts to seep out of your energy field. If y'all did download the class materials, we're on the chart that says what causes energy leaks. and you can actually see a visual representation of it. If you did not get to download the class materials, it's the very last post I posted today. It creates cracks in your aura. It leaves you open. If you ever have, it creates cracks in your aura. It leaves you open. If you ever had an aura photo done and you have a friend who had cracks in her aura, they can actually see that. And when you don't notice the leak, you end up feeling tired, foggy, anxious, unmotivated, or overwhelmed without any physical explanation. So we're going to talk about what causes that type of spiritual bleeding. Hey, Chief, another one of my moderators just made it in. Oh, am I going in and out? Is my service messing up again? And G knows. She lives right around the corner from me. That's my little sister. Literally lives like 5 minutes down the street from me. So she already knows. Oh, it catches up. Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to talk about what causes that kind of spiritual bleeding. So unprocessed trauma. Trauma is not just what happened. It's what got stuck in your body and never got expressed. It's that panic attack that you never told anybody about. It's that assault that you tried to forget. It's that death in the family that you never properly grieved. That's what I mean by unprocessed trauma. When trauma like stays buried, it actually forms a hole in your energy field. Yes, I will be loading this on my Patreon. Okay, mister. Um, what was I saying? Oh, it causes a hole in your energy field, your aura, your biofield. That hole leaks your power, basically. It also becomes a magnet for more pain because it sends out a vibration of woundedness, and spiritually, and spiritually, energy always seeks resonance. That means it attracts. It might be both of y'all then. Okay. So, how it affects you. So, you may become hyper emotional, and this is when this is specifically for unprocessed trauma. How do you know that is what is weakening your energy field, basically? You become hyper emotional, numb, or very reactive. Your emotional leak in your emotions into situations where they don't belong. Lash out, isolate yourself, or experience physical exhaustion. And your rituals may feel foggy because your Ashe is clouded. And then I never moved the board. My bad, y'all. My bad. This is where we at. This is the last thing I got to write down before I had to leave. Where did I cut off at? Hey, get fit with Brit. What part did I cut off at? I can repeat it. Did y'all hear how unprocessed trauma? Okay, that was the last thing I said. Your Ashe gets clouded. Okay, you heard the whole thing then. So, I can repeat them if you want me to. So you become hyper emotional, numb, reactive. Your emotions leak into situations where they don't belong. You might cry randomly, lash out, isolate yourself, or experience physical exhaustion. And your rituals feel foggy, and your Ashe feels clouded. Did y'all get it that time? Okay, cool. Yay. So, we're going to move to toxic conversations and emotional dumping. I know we all have had that one friend that does this. So, sometimes people don't want your advice, they want your energy. I'm going to repeat that one. They don't want your advice, they want your energy. They come to you not to heal, but to hand off their heaviness so they feel lighter, while sending you home heavy as hell. And every time you listen to this person without protection, you are going to absorb it. Hey, thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. And I'm going to give you a real life example of this. So you spend 45 minutes on the phone with someone, trauma dumping and gossiping. I hate gossip. If anybody knows me in person, I do not like when people gossip to me. It irritates my soul. So you hang up and you suddenly feel anxious, confused, and heavy. But it's not even your problem. Thank you. It's somebody else's problem that's making you feel confused, heavy, and anxious. That's actually a leak. Your aura actually got penetrated, if you can actually feel that, whether you are an empath or not. My baby girl, my baby daddy current, let me go back to that. Current girlfriend, baby mama blocked her. So, how does this affect you when people do that to you? You stop hearing your own intuition because someone else's emotional signature is louder than your field. Your dreams might start becoming part of their life. That means you're dreaming about their life, about them, and things like that. Or you may find yourself energetically tied to their mess without consent. And sometimes this actually bleeds into the physical. You're physically tied to their mess. You're put in the middle of their situation. Stay away from people like that. They don't mean you any good. They just need somebody who they can siphon their energy to make themselves feel better. So that I can recenter myself. Girl, I can't work for nobody. Like, these corporations do not care about you. I have been working for myself for some years now, at least maybe 6, 7 years. Every now and then I help my dad out with his business, but nope, I can't work for people for that reason. Let me see. I'm a Scorpio, and most people can't handle it. Scorpio is actually my favorite sign outside of my own sign. I love Scorpios. Wow. Okay, so let's get back to it. So, we're going to go to people pleasing. We're still in the area of people. When you keep saying yes just to avoid guilt, you are leaking. When you're pouring into everybody and refusing to receive, you are leaking. If y'all watched my video about the law of reciprocity, I tell you that you are out of alignment if you are somebody who gives but never receives. That is also out of alignment. When you can't reset because you're carrying someone else's emotions, you are hemorrhaging energy. So I'm going to give you a real life example of this one as well. I needed you to say this a year ago, Queen. Say which part? Oh, people pleasing. So, real life example. You're the one everyone goes to. You're the strong one. But lately, you've been snapping at people, forgetting things, and waking up feeling like you never slept. That's not burnout. That's actually energetic malnourishment because you are giving way too much of your energy without receiving anything in return. How does this affect you? You begin to disconnect from your spirit team. Ancestors can't reach you clearly when your line is filled with static, and you become a vessel for everyone else but yourself. So, stop people pleasing. Stop over giving. I know, especially if you are a spiritual worker or a practitioner, we are taught that you're supposed to be giving, but you're supposed to be giving and receiving at the same time. The people that you give to, you're supposed to receive from, whether it be monetary, whether it be a thank you. You're supposed to be getting something from them. I hate when people get on here and say, if you're a spiritual worker, you're not supposed to be getting anything in return. You're not supposed to be charging people. That's bullshit. You want us to give you our energy with nothing in return. That's going to eventually drain that spiritual practitioner to the point where they won't even be able to help themselves. So that's a hell no. Now, spiritual overexposure. This is when I go to lack of protection. I touched it. So, being spiritually open is beautiful, but without boundaries, it's dangerous. Not every energy is meant to touch you. Remember that. Not everybody is your assignment. That's what that's saying. Not every dream is meant to be channeled. Not every altar should be open 24/7. I taught that in the ancestral magic class when I was telling you that some of your altars you are supposed to close, and I gave you a closing prayer in those class materials. So I'm going to give you a real life example. You go to a spiritual event with no protection, and when I say spiritual event, this includes church. Thank you, 20K likes. No grounding or no closing ritual. So that means that you went with no protection. This is if you have your head covered, you didn't do a prayer, something. You go with no protection. You didn't ground yourself. You're in a chaotic state when you go to this place, or no closing ritual. You haven't closed out after you leave, and then days later, you're sick. You're spiritually overwhelmed and your house feels heavy. You picked up spirits. You invited something in. And I could tell you a story since we're actually ahead of time. It hasn't even been an hour. So this actually happened to me. I went somewhere unspiritually protected, and this was a long, long time ago when I was first trying to learn about hoodoo. And these three old ladies lied to me and pretended to be elders in the tradition. And when I tell you I had to unlearn everything these women taught me, everything, they were fake. And so they took me out into the woods. I'm not going to tell y'all everything that, that we did, but they took me out into the woods. When I tell y'all I was sick, I ended up going to the hospital. And I stayed in the hospital, I believe, like 1 week. This was when I lived in Florida. And I never told anybody about this, but it is in my book if you did purchase in Florida. And I never told anybody about this, but it is in my book if you did purchase my book. And they were just starting. I don't know if they were trying to create this coven or what. But I didn't have my head covered. They didn't tell me that. They didn't tell me to cleanse or anything. We were out there doing shit we had no business doing. And they definitely had no business doing because they didn't know what they were doing. But going to spiritual places without being protected or being around a spiritual practitioner who is lying to you, if you're learning from an elder or they say they're an elder and you go out and you do things with them and you're sick afterwards, more than likely they are actually penetrating your aura field or putting you in situations that you don't need to be in, making you spiritually sick. What was the question? What's a good head wrap for men? Any head wrap. Were you in my last live when I taught you how to do the turban look? That, or my locks have gotten so long I can't do that look without my head hurting anymore. So like I just tied the back of it and just covered my head. Anything. Black, white, it doesn't matter. Let's see. And if you need me to teach you, I can do a video and put it on my Patreon on how to do different types of head wraps. You're welcome. So how does this affect you? Unprotected openness allows for spiritual attachments, and I think that's what happened to me. Something attached to me in that forest. Strange dreams, mood swings, and confusion. It also invites psychic surveillance, people peering into your field without permission, and this is when people call them monitoring spirits. If you have a wig on, you still can, well, that's considered a head covering, actually. Your head is covered. It's not your hair. Oh, yeah, it was a very horrible experience. Very horrible. I check on them to see if they're still teaching, and they are. I be nosy sometimes. I be like, I wonder if they still out there tricking folks, and they surely are. So, poor boundaries with people and energies, and this is still with people and lack of protection. And I keep doing that. A wig is a cover, yes. So, boundaries are not walls, they're actually agreements with your spirit. A boundary is an agreement. And when those boundaries are inconsistent, unclear, or only verbal with no energetic reinforcement, meaning that you all talk, that's when you start leaking. You say, a real life example is you say, I'm done with them, but you keep checking their page. You keep thinking about them daily. You still pray for them, even though you're saying that you're done with them. A lot of people be like, I want to move on in peace. I'm still going to pray for that person. Why? That is not a requirement. When you break away from somebody and you're praying for them, you're actually increasing that cord tie that's holding y'all together, that energy to cut people off and not think about them again. So that is not a boundary. That is actually creating an active cord when you're still engaging with that person that you said that you're done with. How does this affect you? Your Ashe gets diluted. Your ability to focus becomes scattered. You may lose interest in your own work because part of your field is still in spiritual conversation with someone else's. And that leads to actual old cords and soul ties. So, just because they're not in your life anymore doesn't mean that they're not in your energy. Like I said before, and especially if you know sleeping with the person, this actually sleeping with the person. This actually becomes bigger. This middle part becomes bigger when you're sleeping with somebody. Y'all are exchanging energies, and that energy is staying with you. So, a real life example: your ex, we'll say your ex boyfriend or girlfriend, they keep appearing in your dreams. You think of them out of nowhere. You feel random waves of sadness or lust that doesn't match your current reality. Like you know you're done with this person, but for some reason you keep thinking about sleeping with them. You keep thinking about what they're doing. Oh, I wonder if they miss me. That's what I'm talking about. That's actually a soul tie, or what we call a spiritual cord. And if you didn't sever it properly, it's probably still leaking. And when it leaks, it's actually leaking your energy as well. You can't, and how does this affect you? You can't call in what's next because you're spiritually entangled with what should have been closed. Your spirit becomes a bridge between the past and the present, and that split between the past and the present begins to drain you. And then thank you for becoming a fan. Hey, she's so earthy. I haven't seen you on my timeline. You used to show some good food. I mean, not my timeline. This is TikTok. My FYP. I haven't seen you on there in a long time. She's so earthy. So we're gonna talk about you now. This is inner neglect and self sabotage. That's what we're going to talk about. So, inner neglect. So, sometimes you're leaky because you stop tending to your own spirit. Like, you are the problem. This, a real life example is you haven't prayed, you haven't journaled, you haven't cleansed, you haven't meditated, you haven't taken any self care, you haven't rested, you've been scrolling more than you've been grounding, you've been numbing, which is whatever your vice is, numbing yourself. I can't say it on here because they'll turn my live off. Instead of healing. How does this affect you? Your aura gets dim, your discernment weakens, your spirit stops showing up. You become a passive receiver instead of an active guardian of your own aura. What if you protect yourself before sleeping with them? Um, it quite doesn't work like that because you can protect yourself, but if you are sleeping with somebody, that type of spiritual connection is, I don't know how to explain it, but no, you, the only way you can protect yourself is to pay attention to who you sleep with. Be more use more discernment before sleeping with someone. Because if that person is, if y'all read my book, I don't know how many of y'all have actually read my book when I was sleeping with the enemy, basically. Um, but no matter how much you protect yourself, if you're sleeping with somebody, that is a leaving you wide open, especially if they're not a good person. Hold on, real quick. It's making me do the puzzle thing. Because like I said, no matter what, you can protect yourself from somebody's outer aura, especially if you train yourself and you're an empath or you wear certain crystals or aura, especially if you train yourself and you're an empath or you wear certain crystals to block somebody's auric field like shungite or something like that. Um, you can do things like that, but actually, that's if you're in their presence. But actually, sleeping with someone, that's a different type of connection. So, if I didn't get banned on here, I would teach y'all about sex magic, but I don't think I can teach that on TikTok. Might have to do a private Zoom on that one day. So, this is when we get into self sabotage. When you are the leak, sometimes it's not your ex, it's not the spirit, it's not a toxic friend. And avoidance patterns can create rips in your field. And this is the hardest truth to face because it means and avoidance patterns can create rips in your field. And this is the hardest truth to face because it means reclaiming ability, which is something humans don't like to do. Um, yes, private Zoom. I'm gonna have to do that. Let me write that down because I'll forget. Put it on my calendar. Okay. So, we're going to do a real life example of this. You speak affirmations every morning, but deep down, you don't believe a word of it. Um, you criticize yourself all day. And this is when people walk around and say, I'm broke, stuff like that. Quit saying stuff like that. Because you will be broke, because you're basically telling the universe what you are. You ignore your intuition even when it's loud. You dim your light to make others comfortable, or you second guess your own power. That's a real life example of what it looks like to self sabotage yourself. Yes, sacred energy exchange. That's the perfect, I don't know, analogy, whatever you want to call it. The perfect description of what having sex with somebody else is. It's a sacred energy exchange. So, how does this affect you? You become your own block. You unconsciously invite energy that reinforces your doubt. Your rituals become inconsistent. Your work loses focus. And when I say work, I'm not actually talking about like physical work, going to work. I'm talking about this type of work. Your rituals, things like that. And your spirit starts to retreat, not because you aren't worthy, but because you're sending mixed signals to the universe. Yes, and it will eventually cause mental problems if left unchecked. Um, so if you've been feeling like your rituals aren't working, your energy is low, or your spirit feels tired all of the time, you need to start looking for the leak. Not every tired all of the time, you need to start looking for the leak. Not every exhaustion is physical. Not every sadness is yours. And not every thought is even coming from you, especially if you are an empath. This is heightened for you. Spiritual hygiene isn't about cleansing, it's actually about sealing your energy in. You are sacred, you are powerful, and you're not meant to spill over because the world wants you to drink from their cup. So that's when you call your power back. That's when you seal in the edges. And I'm not talking about basking lather, edge control. I'm talking about doing actual spiritual work to seal in your aura and protect your charge. So I want to go over signs. This is the part that I did not get to write on the board. So if y'all, oh, I'm glad, Eva. That's my whole purpose of doing this, is to make sure I touch the people that it needs to touch, even if it's just one person listening to me. This is, if y'all did get the class materials, this is the chart that says signs that you have an energy leak. I think that's what I titled it. Yes, we are all here for a purpose. I know it's more than one, but I would still be doing it if it was. So, you don't always know when your aura has a crack. You don't always feel it when your Ashe starts to seep out. Did y'all hear that? Those candles are over there popping. A message is coming through. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Because spiritual leaks aren't always loud. Sometimes they whisper. And if you've never been taught how to listen, which is what I'm going to do now, teach you how, you think it's just stress, you think it's burnout, or just being in a funk, and it's not. I want to teach you, like, when your spirit speaks, I want y'all to listen. Like, a lot of people tell themselves that they're crazy. They're just imagining things. I want you to believe the first thought that comes in your head. Trust your intuition. So we're going to go over physical and spiritual signs of an energy leak. First, we're going to go over chronic fatigue after, and this is after you are with certain people or places, because some people have chronic fatigue because of actual physical illness, but I'm talking about like literally right after you interact with somebody or you go into a place and you just feel extremely tired right after. You're literally fine until you talk to this person. You were laughing until you walked into a store, into a house, into your job. Then suddenly you're tired. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about just sleepy. I'm saying tired. Tired in your bones, in your chest, in your spirit. You just don't even want to be there no more. This means that you just exchanged energy with something or someone that wasn't life-giving. And it pulled you from you instead of pouring into you. Pay attention to stuff like that. I have a lot of my clients who get my spiritual waters and they take them to work. Brittany, if she's still on this live, she does it all the time. Whenever she don't feel right at work, especially because she be using this live, she does it all the time. Whenever she don't feel right at work, especially because she be usually a supervisor, whatever position she's in, she will spray herself doing it one time. But my phone is about to die. I do this every time. But you can immediately change that. You just have to realize and recognize, hey, Melly. I shipped off your package. I can't wait for you to get it. Okay, had to plug my phone up. I'm sorry. So, what was I saying? Oh, so once you recognize it immediately, once you learn how to recognize when your aura is leaking or something is draining you, you can snap into action. Keep spiritual water in your purse. In a tiny, you can use a tiny bottle. I have real little bottles. This one's kind of big, but even this, like if you carry a big purse, forgot my camera's inverted. You can use something like this, but I have real small ones too, like about that big. And you can just pretend like you're spraying perfume on yourself. This one that I have in my hand is actually a spiritual water called Protect Against Envy, and it smells good too. And it smells good too. My bad, I accidentally kicked my charger out of my phone. Okay, so now we're going to go to draining dreams and spiritual invasions. You sleep at night but wake up feeling like you ran a marathon. Your dreams are filled with arguments, shadow figures, people from your past, or chaotic scenes that don't feel like yours. And then this is when I was talking about you wake up and feel like you haven't eaten or drank anything in weeks. You wake up startled or feel something still lingering in the room. This means that your spiritual boundaries are leaking during your dream time. That means unwanted energies are accessing your unconscious field. That's a sign that your spiritual protections aren't sealed before bed. And it could also mean that you were doing a ritual or doing some type of altar work and you forgot to close it out. What was the name of the spray? Protection from envy. I still have the bottle. Hold on. Because believe it or not, I have a lot of people who don't like me for no reason. Literally. And so I keep this on me, which a lot of spiritualists have that problem actually. It's just, it comes with the territory. Let me see. This is what, if y'all want to take a picture of it. Because of my glow, yes, that's actually what an elder told me. My glow bothers people. She actually said that wasn't her exact words, but that's basically what she was saying. Because I was having a problem with a practitioner who I don't even fucking know. Literally never met this woman a day in my life. And she was telling people not to come to me because I was a beginner and all types of stuff. Keep in mind, I lived in Florida for almost 8 years, and then I moved back to Arkansas. And I'm not even from Little Rock. I'm actually from the bottom of Arkansas, close to Louisiana. I'm from the country, like town only have one gas station country, nothing but farmland country. And she was telling people she knew me, she knew I hadn't been doing this long and stuff like this. They showed me a picture of this lady. I ain't never seen her a day in my life. Ever. But for some reason, my spirit bothered her enough for her to try to hate on me. Okay. And actually, Lene, she's not in here today. She actually brought this to me from New Orleans, but I did look it up on Amazon, and Amazon does have it. There is a Botanica on Amazon that has it. So just type in that name, Protection from Envy Spiritual Cologne, and it'll pop up. So we were on dreams. Already went over dreams. Okay. Now we're going to talk about that off feeling with no logical cause. Like you just feel off. Everything in your life is going good, but for some reason, cause. Like you just feel off. Everything in your life is going good, but for some reason, something don't. You're welcome. So that's what we're going to talk about now. Your body is fine. Your day was okay, but something is just off. You can't focus. You feel spacey or low key, irritated for no reason. Nothing big happened, but your inner compass just feels foggy. This means that your field is being touched or pulled on. That fogginess is spiritual static. It happens when you've absorbed energy that your body doesn't know how to process. So, then we have the sudden waves of depression, fear, or anxiety without a clear trigger. That envious person must. Hey, what you know about Miss Robinson? No comment on that, Jose, but I am happy to see somebody make that analogy. Let me see. But I definitely did, Jose. Let me see. I feel like that happens just walking outside. Yep, definitely. People just don't like you for no reason. It's crazy. So sudden waves of depression, fear, or anxiety without a clear trigger. Everything is fine on the outside, but inside you're crashing. You go from joy to dread in minutes. You suddenly feel overwhelmed, teary eyed, panicked, and it kind of feels like an anxiety attack. And when you try to explain it, nothing makes sense. This means that you are most likely carrying an emotional weight that doesn't belong to you, or something in your field has activated buried trauma or the unprocessed trauma I was telling you about earlier. Um, and so then there's head pressure, stomach knots, and mood swings. Your body starts talking to you. Your tight temples, your heart fluttering for no reason. You go to the doctor, get on an EKG. And this is actually what happened to me when I had to go to the doctor, when I was telling y'all I had went out to the woods with them old ladies. My heart was just fluttering for no reason. And I was walking up the stairs. I lived in a townhouse at the time, and my heart was just fluttering. But every time I went to the doctor, they did an EKG. There was nothing wrong with me. That's what I'm talking about. And where was I? Lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. Heart fluttering, knots in the gut, sharp emotional turns. You might even start misplacing things, getting irritable, or isolating from people, and you don't know why. This means your nervous system is reacting to an invisible threat that you may not see. Your spiritual field has been penetrated, and your body is going into self-defense mode, and you don't even know it. Head fog, etc. No explanation. Well, definitely DM me, Ernie. Yay! Melly, I can't wait for you to get your package. Let me know if you love your beads. Let me see. And take pictures so I can post them. They don't have to be on you, just that you receive them. So let's be clear about the effects. When you ignore these signs that I just went over, and if you did not get all of these signs, they are on my page. The very last post that I posted has everything that I made sure that I put everything on a flyer this time. So y'all will have something to go back and look at. Um, when you ignore these signs, leaks deepen. They start to affect your rituals, your intuition, your clarity, and your ability to show up in your power. You might notice that your candles won't stay lit. I keep saying that because that's like one of the number one signs. Either that or they burn or explode for no reason. Your manifestations slow down. You feel disconnected from your altar, your ancestors, or your guides. You lose interest in spiritual work altogether, like you just lose sight of your purpose. Um, Something that used to bring you joy, and it now actually feels like work. You start attracting chaos or people with draining energy and things like that. So the main point of this section is to let you know that your awareness is your shield. Once that's your first line of defense. I said that before in the spiritual warfare class. Your first line of defense is learning how to be aware that this stuff is happening to you. Once you are aware, even if you don't know what to do, you know that you can go ask a spiritual guide, a spiritualist. You can go ask your pastor. It depends on what your belief system is. Hey, this is going on with me, especially if you are in a Kojic church. They are usually good with noticing signs of spiritual warfare. Lene, you are here. We missed you. The enforcer has arrived. But like I was saying, once you learn how to recognize the leak, you can actually stop it. Once you learn to listen to your body, you can heal it. And once you honor your spirit's whispers, your intuition, you no longer need it to scream at you. Because, you know, the longer that you go without spiritual hygiene practices, the worse that it gets and your body starts screaming at you. No, you're good. You're good. I hope the event went well. I saw the pictures that you had posted on IG. Okay. You get real bad anxiety. Yeah, that's like and is the anxiety for no reason, or do you have an actual because I get anxiety, but it's because I'm naturally I have social anxiety when I'm in front of a lot of people or when I'm teaching. Like I have anxiety right now, you guys just can't tell. So, next we're going to go into spiritual hygiene practices, like things that you can do. And this is actually the end of the class. I told you I was going to make it short for y'all tonight. And then I'm going to go over the weekly and monthly practices. I want to go over the power of saying no. I could go over this. I did print out some extra stuff just in case we did have time that we can go over from another class that I did, but it's similar to this class. So, now that we've talked about what energy is, what causes leaks, and how to recognize the signs of those leaks, let's talk about what to do about it. And let's talk about spiritual hygiene as a daily practice, not just a ritual you do when everything is falling apart, because a lot of people wait until their life is actually falling apart to do stuff, and that's not how it's supposed to be. You're actually supposed to be doing things daily to protect yourself. Not just a bath after you have a breakup. Work on your spiritual hygiene while the relationship is there. That way you don't even have to worry about a breakup. Unless the person is just a shitty person, then just let them go. Not just prayer when you're scared. A lot of people wait until they're scared to start praying. This is about maintenance, keeping your spirit clean and your energy clear before the world gets heavy. So, smoke cleansing. Air moves energy. I want y'all to remember that. And it's on that chart. I forget what I called the chart, but I think it's called daily hygiene or daily something. Air moves energy. So burning herbs, incense, or resins is one of the oldest forms of energetic hygiene. Smoke is a spiritual messenger, and that's actually a indigenous American belief. It lifts energy off of the body and moves it through the air. That's how it works. So, and this is on that chart, if y'all go look at that chart. But herbs that are best for spiritual hygiene is white copal for clarity, mugwort if you are having those heavy dreams that I was telling you about, cedar or pine for grounding, frankincense for purity and spiritual elevation. So how do you practice smoke cleansing daily? And I'm just giving you an example of what you can do. You don't have to do smoke cleansing daily. You can just pray, be aware, things like that. So you can wave smoke around your body from head to toe before you leave the house. You can say your intention out loud while you're doing this. I release what is not mine. Make sure you open a window because that energy that is on you will need somewhere to go. Does essential oils in your diffuser count? Yes, but it is not considered smoke. That is actually considered water cleansing. Diffusers, things like that, that actually use liquid, that would be considered a liquid cleanse. And I'm going to go over that too. Um, Spiritual showers and baths. This includes your diffuser, and it also includes steam baths. Water is a conductor. It holds memory. It responds to prayer. When you use it intentionally, water becomes one of the most powerful tools for clearing energy. So, daily things that you can do. And this is so simple because you have to take a, I hope y'all are taking baths every day. I say that, but there are people who don't. So so I hope you are taking a bath or a shower every day. So this is like one of the easiest things that you can do daily. I'm sorry. Let me regroup. Okay. So, speak affirmations or psalms over your bath water or while you're in the shower. Hello, Addie. Add a pinch of salt, rosemary, basil, or Florida water to your bath. Or add the water, as the water hits your body, say, I wash away what doesn't belong to me. That is so simple because you have to go take a bath. And you can just do it while you're in there. And you don't even need the herbs and things like that. All you need is your words, your mouth. That's it. You're not washing your skin, you're cleansing your spirit at the same time. Okay, then we get to prayer and psalm work. Your Ashe in motion. Let me see. Oh my goodness, tornado. Collect some water and I'll pay you and send it to me. Some tornado water. So don't go out there risking your life, but if you know a tornado's coming, set some jars out for me and I'll pay you for them. Because we haven't had one in Arkansas this year yet, and so I haven't gotten to collect any this year. Um, so psalm and prayer work. So your voice, as I said before, is powerful. Your breath is a carrier of Ashe. Prayer, chanting, or speaking sacred texts shifts your vibration and cleanses your field. You could have sent me that. Well, just keep me in mind if y'all ever have a tornado or things like that, or y'all run across something in nature that you think I might want. I will pay you for them. So, examples of daily practice. Psalms 51 is the best psalms to use to cleanse yourself. Um, then a personal prayer, calling your energy back and asking for clarity, speaking directly to your ancestors and spirit guides or higher self. Those are examples of daily practices where you use your voice, your prayers, and your psalms. If you do not like the Bible, if y'all look at the class materials that I gave you, I used some scriptures from the Bible, even the lost books too. I found some scriptures for the lost books. And then if you go to I think it's maybe the second to the last slide, I have other things. Ask them what type of sacred text that you can use to cleanse yourself. Because not everybody has a good relationship with the Bible. At one point, I didn't. So, aura brushing and cord checking. Hands are your sacred tools. You don't need fancy tools to cleanse your aura. Your hands carry energy, especially those of you who practice Reiki, I don't know how to say it. Your breath carries rhythm, and you are your own ritual. So how do you practice this daily? You can slowly brush your hands 2 to 3 inches above your body. From your crown to your feet. Keep in mind, when you cleanse, you start from the head and go down. Remember that. If you feel a sticky or a heavy spot, hoover your hand over that and If you are not an energy worker and you don't have this energetic gift, you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But you will feel a tingle in your hands. Sometimes you will feel your hand get heavy or things like that. You will recognize that something isn't right when you put your hands over your body. And that's what they do in Reiki as well. And you say, once you get to that point and you do feel something is off with your hands, you say, I cut cords that do not serve me. As soon as you feel that, visualize your field being filled with a golden light, filling any gaps that may be there. Um, you can actually do this in the mirror before you go to bed. It's like a check-in, like you're checking your own energy before you lay down, or when you wake up, you check your own energy. Crystals, oils, and talismans you can use daily as well. Your tools aren't just pretty. I have boxes and boxes of crystals. Like, my office is probably supercharged. I probably have at least 100 different types of crystals in my office. Um, they aren't just pretty, they're actually functional. Crystals actually hold frequency. Your oils that you create, they carry memory. Talismans act like shields, and this is like your mojo bags, things like that. But only when they are activated with intention. So daily uses, you can rub protection oil on the back of your neck. Or some people do the forehead too. Um, some people do the palms before you leave the house, and some people actually do it, put it in their foot too. Like they put a drop of oil in their shoes so they can walk into whatever that oil attracts. You can carry black tourmaline, obsidian, selenite. Shungite is very, very good with creating an energetic shield. Like it blocks other people's energy from hitting you. Let me see. You can charge your jewelry charms or amulets on your altar once a week. You can whisper your intentions into your tools. Um, and that's really all of the daily. So we're going to go over monthly. Then if we have time and y'all feel like it, I can go over the hands. Oh, I have to go over the power of saying. That was real short. Um, but I print, if you go to the class materials, there's something called the hands, head, and heart ritual. I can go deeper into that so you can understand it more than just looking at that chart and doing what that chart is telling you to do on my page. So, daily hygiene keeps your spirit clear in the moment, but there are some energies, cords, some shadows, some stains that require deeper ritualized cleansing. That's where your weekly and monthly practices start to come in. This is where you do your energy maintenance work, is what I call it. Like an oil change for your spirit, a deep cleanse of your field. These are the rituals that reclaim your energy, refilling your aura, and realigning your spiritual tools. So once a week, usually on the same day, you cleanse your home and reset your altar. Check your energy like you check your bank account, and that's when I was telling you, you just sit down with yourself. Ask yourself, like, who drained me this week? Just really think about it. When did I feel drained this week? And what was going on? Where was I at? And who was I with? What conversations felt heavy or lingering, like you're still thinking about the conversation? Did I give more than I had to offer? Like if you are giving to someone and you immediately feel guilt because you don't have enough to take care of yourself, stop doing that. Like sometimes God or whoever you believe in will give somebody to you to help, even when like you give it and then right after that you're blessed. But sometimes people are not your assignment. You have to have discernment with who you help. So if you don't feel good about giving to somebody, more than likely they were not your assignment. So how do you take actions? You can release cords. These are when you do cord cuttings, things like that. Close portals and block access. You can write yourself a forgiveness letter, even if you never send it. You can write a forgiveness letter to somebody else too. You can speak out loud and say, I call my power back from every moment that drained me. I release what is not mine. And that is on that chart too, the monthly chart that I put on my page. There are some things that you can't just brush off that need scrubbing spiritually. This is when you do your monthly rituals like floor washes. This is when you cleanse your home with herbs like pine, basil, hyssop, and Florida water. Those are the big four. Head washes, using herbal infusions to calm your mind, quiet your thoughts. I usually use chamomile, lavender, and hyssop in my head washing. Smoke and sound cleansing, pairing sacred smoke with drumming, bells, or singing bowls. You can even dance, sing once a month around your altar, however you want to do it. It depends on your belief system. Mirror or shadow rituals to release spiritual residue from old wounds or protect projections. If you are on my Patreon, I did post two mirror rituals. Oh, one of them hasn't been posted yet. I just told y'all it was supposed to be a surprise. But that one will be posted, I believe she has it scheduled for Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. My assistant basically does all my posts. Like, I write them and then I give her all of them and she schedules them. So I believe it's Tuesday, she told me. So resetting altars and spiritual tools once a month. Clean your altar. Mint is very good. Yes, sweet mama. Yes, mint. I always forget about that. So your altar is a reflection of your spirit. If it's dusty, neglected, or cluttered, so is your field. So change the water on your ancestor altar. I actually do that weekly. Change the water. That's just my personal preference. Replace burned out candles, wipe down sacred objects with intention, recharge crystals in the moonlight or sunlight, and then put them back on your altar. Refresh prayers, photos, offerings, or cloths. If you are on my Patreon, you saw that I refreshed my entire ancestor altar down to the picture frames that my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my little brother are in. I even changed their picture frames. So I literally do a clean sweep when I'm called to. So, protecting and repairing cords. Cord cuttings gets talked about often, but nobody ever talks about cord strengthening. I have yet to see a spiritualist outside of myself talk about cord strengthening. And I actually have a book that's about to be released this year about cord cuttings and strengthening. Some cords should not be cut. They should be healed or reinforced. Energetic cords that are worth tending to are the ones that you have with your children, the ones that you have with your ancestors, the ones you have with your romantic partner, if the relationship is living in the law of reciprocity. If it's not, let it go. Your divine self or your higher calling, that cord should always be tended to. How to protect them. Say their name over a white candle and speak love into the cord. You can clean the cord with prayer, visualization, or rose water. Braid 3 strands. I told you I love the number 3. Like a thread, yarn, or hair, and charge it as a symbol of protection. Just like if you ever seen sweetgrass braids, just like that. You can lay your hand over your womb or your heart and say, this bond is sacred, let it be shielded. And those are some monthly rituals, and they are also already on that chart that I posted. And now we're going to talk about the power of saying no. You never heard about cord strengthening. That is so crazy. I hear that all of the time. But yes, there is a such thing as cord strengthening. But my book was supposed to be released already, but somebody convinced me to make a workbook to go with it because the book is so detailed, I guess. It's a really big book. They told me to make a workbook to go with it, so I'm working on the workbook now. Once I finish the workbook, I will publish, and I'll let you guys know when it's available. It'll have cord strengthening and cord cutting rituals from about maybe 15 to 20 different cultures. You probably will be able to pre-order. I don't handle any of that. I just write the book and then send it to the person to publish it. So, the last time it was a pre-order option. I'm not sure about this time, but I will let you guys know. So, the power of saying no. Let's talk about the most underestimated spiritual practice out there. No is a spell. Like the word no is a spell. It is a prayer. It is a boundary. It is protection. Every time you say yes to something your spirit never agreed to, you actually weaken your field. Every time you say, let someone re enter your life just because they are sorry, you open a portal. Every time you keep quiet when your soul wants to scream, you leak. We've been taught that saying no makes us mean, that it makes us difficult, especially African American people, or really anybody in the African diaspora. If we say no, we're difficult or mean. That we owe people access to our energy just because they love us, need us, or helped us once. But spiritual maturity, when you get into that mature stage, you know that I am allowed to close the gate even if I used to leave it open. You have the power and the right to tell people no. No closes energetic doors that were left open through guilt and fear. No seals your aura by stopping energetic overgiving. No allows your Ashe to gather instead of scatter. No puts your energy on a budget. And not everyone gets to spend it. So, I'm going to give you some real life examples. No is a complete sentence. I love that. I need to add that to this class. Hold on. Write that down. No is a complete sentence. So, some real life examples. You're invited to an event, but your spirit feels heavy at the thought. Instead of pushing through, you say, thank you, but I need to sit this one out. You still said no, but you were polite about it. Someone calls to vent for the 5th time this week. You don't answer. You send a loving but firm text saying, I'm not available for emotional labor right now. Please check in with yourself first. That sounds like it's harsh, but it's not. Or you can even tell them, I'm not doing well right now. I will call you back later. You're still saying no because you know why they're calling. No is multidimensional. Look at y'all. Write in my class for me. No is multidimensional. So, another example, a spiritual practitioner wants to do a ritual with you, but your gut says no. Even though you admire them, you need to honor that pause and walk away. I have been offered um, a lot of things, but it was one person in particular, very, very, very popular woman, offered me to teach a class, but she wanted me to do it for free for exposure. I don't need exposure. Like, exposure is something that I actually do not care about. Like, I honestly do not care how many people follow me. I don't care enough about popularity or exposure. You need to pay me money. Like, if I'm giving my time, you need to pay me money. So, even though this was a very, very popular practitioner, I just couldn't do it. I can't work for exposure. Is the house of Medusa? Oh, thank you so much, Lene. So, even if it's somebody you admire, learn how to say no. Exactly, Eva. I say that all of the time. Everybody who's meant to learn from me, they're gonna find me. Because at one point, for the first 10 years of me doing this, I was hidden. Nobody knew who I was. They just knew me by word of mouth. That's how I was silently popular. Nobody publicly knew my name. I wasn't on TikTok. Um, Nobody on Facebook. I did have Facebook, but I wasn't doing this on Facebook at all. I was actually writing erotica at the time, but most people knew me through word of mouth. Somebody told them about me and they would come to me. That's how it used to be for me for 10 years before I went public. So, tell people no. That's the point. Have energetic boundaries. You don't have to justify why you saying no either. Remember that. So, if y'all want to, I will go over the hands, head, and heart ritual. Say yes. Yes, it's about discretion. Exactly. Like the very first spiritual reading I ever got from someone, they told me that I would be doing what I'm doing now. Actually, my pastor is the first person to tell me when I was a little girl. He stopped his entire sermon when he was walking down the aisle and put his hands on me and said that I would be doing this, but he thought I was going to be doing it in the church. He thought I was going to be teaching in the church. Then, when I got older, I went to a reader for the first time, and he told me that I would be doing this. Told me I was going to be a teacher, that it was going to be something I didn't want to do, and I actually laughed at him during that reading. I was like, yeah, you won't catch me speaking in public to anybody. And look at me now. That no actually turned into a yes. Using candle, I'll have to do that on another day. The cord repair using a candle, because cord strengthening is actually for advanced practitioners. Um, if you want to strengthen a cord or something like that, that is outside of your family, it depends on what you want to strengthen, what cord. DM me, because some stuff you shouldn't do on your own. The cord cutting book and cord strengthening book that I'm writing is actually for practitioners. It's like an encyclopedia for people who are already practicing and who already know how to do it. But I can't stop y'all from buying it. Just I put a bunch of disclaimers in the book, so it's okay. So let me see. We're gonna go over the ritual because I saw a lot of people say yes. So now you understand the science, the symptoms, and the solutions. Let's put this into practice. You don't need a full altar. You don't need a special day on the calendar. All you need is your intention, your Ashe, and your willingness to activate the moment. You see how I put my little formula in there? So, I'm going to guide you through a simple ritual. You can do this physically. So, first, I want to explain why hands, head, and heart actually matter in your spiritual work, outside of what I told you on the other side of the board. So, your hands are not just physical tools. In Hoodoo, we actually call them Hoodoo hands. They are a transmitter of your Ashe. Um, the hands are how we lay, lift, cleanse, bless, and seal. They are electric, always moving energy. When you anoint, dress candles, fold herbs into bags, or even place your hand over your body, you are activating your power. So, spiritually, your hands are an extension of your will. Energetically, they emit and absorb frequencies. And in ritual, they direct, move, and release energy from the body and field. Your head, which is your crown in your mind, is the receiver. Your head is your spiritual antenna. It's where downloads, intuitive insights, and higher messages come in. The crown chakra and the pineal gland, I struggle with that word too, sit here. Spiritual insight and divine access, but it's also where confusion, psychic noise, and outside interference try to enter. It starts at the crown. That's why we keep our heads covered. So spiritual outside interference try to enter. It starts at the crown. That's why we keep our heads covered. So spiritually, the head is your seat of discernment. Energetically, it's the gate between physical and spiritual realms. In ritual, we cover the head, wash the head, or sweep the crown to protect our clarity and mental sovereignty. So the heart, this is the filter, and frequency center. Your heart field is the largest electromagnetic field your body emits. I've said that over and over again. It holds memory, grief, love, trauma, and longing. It is the core of your vibration. When your heart is heavy or clouded, it distorts your entire aura, because it is the strongest. Go over here. Your heart's EM field is always emitting 6 feet outside of your body. So, spiritually, the heart is where the soul meets spirit. Energetically, it is the most magnetic point in your body. In ritual, we place our hands over our heart to anchor, soothe, and call back emotion from people, pain, and the past. This is why when they say put your hand over your heart and say the pledge, don't do that. There's a reason why they make you put your hand over your heart before you say the Pledge of Allegiance. I ain't gonna get too political. Keep going. So, together, your hands, heart, head form a sacred trinity. I told you I like threes of action, direction, and intention. Cleanse them, activate them, and protect them because they are the keys to your energy field. So, the ritual, the actual ritual, head, hand, and heart cleanse. So what you're going to do is you're going to wash your hands, cup your hands in front of you like you're holding water. I have, usually I have like this glass bowl that I use, or you can go to your sink. It depends on where you live, what you have access to. Please modify this to fit you. Change anything that you want to in this ritual. It's very, very simple, and I made it simple on purpose so you can add your own to it. So you're going to cup your hands in front of you like you're holding water. Now speak over that water out loud or in your mind. An example is, may this water carry away everything I picked up that isn't mine. May it cleanse my touch, my memories, my labor, and my energetic agreements. Now you're going to slowly move your hands over your body, brushing the space around you from head to heart with the water. And then once all of the water is gone, I want you to shake the water off of your hands. So you're basically pouring the water over your body, basically. So then you get to your crown. Take your right hand and hold it above your head like you're hovering over your crown, like this. Can you see me? I keep forgetting that my camera is inverted, like that. So, then you're going to say, I remove any energy that entered through thought, confusion, or spiritual access. I declare that my mind is filled in clarity and peace. Sweep from your crown down the back of your neck and out past your shoulders. Remember, I told you, you start from the top and go down when you are cleansing. Step 3, heart and solar plexus reset. You place your left hand over your heart and your right hand just below your ribs. And you say, I call my energy from every person, every moment, every space that did not return it with love. That means they lacked the law of reciprocity. I release what absorbed. I forgive what lingers. I seal what is sacred. Breathe deeply. Imagine a golden light pouring from your chest. Let it grow. Let it push out anything that isn't yours. And then you're going to lock it with your intention. My field is clean. My Ashe is clear. I am whole. I am protected. I am powerful. And then you're going to shake your body gently. Stretch if you need to. Clap your hands. Dance. I want you to make this ritual your own. That's why I made it so basic. You can do that 3 days out of the week. And it didn't require smoke, moonlight, hours of preparation, didn't require any candles. All you needed was some water. Very simple. Spiritual hygiene is very, very easy to do. You're welcome. And that's the end of the class. Let me